I think security is taking their job way too seriously, doing a second security check before they enter the venue. This is a very awkward silence to our sound team. Can we have some silent, some nice music in the background while we wait? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have you seated and then we can make an announcement for you to get back up. I'll start with the non-official welcoming so long. I see Batubile from Brawl here. She did a wonderful job chairing the program last night. So if my English data bundle runs out, Batubile, I'm just going to signal and then you can take over. So Mulweni, Sawubona, Goeiemorgen, good morning, or as we say in the Western Cape, Awe Masakin. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Jandre Bakker and I will be your program director for the day. What qualifies me for this position or this role is that I've got a qualification in the built environment. I work in the infrastructure space. I have absolutely no filter. And because I'm a civil servant, I cannot charge, so I was free. Before we formally start with protocol and while we wait for the rest of the dignitaries to join us on stage, I would like us in our field to do the most important part, which is our safety briefing and housekeeping rules. Kindly ensure that all mobile devices are switched to silent. Those of you old as I am can remember there was a time when a speaker would tell you that there's a phone call coming in. You remember that? But those days are gone, so now it's too late when you start hearing that. Please make sure that you keep your phone on silent. Should it ring, beep, or we hear anything following a soccer match or a video of a cat playing, we will be issuing spot fines of 500,000 Rand, which will be imposed on you, and it will be contributed to a central infrastructure fund, which I literally just decided to instate. Emergency exits are clearly marked, and our health and safety officer, together with qualified medical personnel, remain on duty throughout the day. So should you feel faint, if someone sends you a purchase order number, just go to the medical tent, they will support you. Should a medical emergency arise, not from a budget, please follow the instructions of the venue officials and proceed calmly to the designated assembly area. In the unlikely event of a loss of venue pressure, oxygen masks will not drop from the ceiling above you. If they do, no matter how you tug on them, it will not release the oxygen flow. In the unlikely event of a water landing, we are all on our own. Ablution facilities are located adjacent to the foyer. Tea will be served immediately outside the plenary hall during the scheduled networking break at 10:30 exactly. Please visit our exhibitors. Lunch is available at 12:30 in the designated catering area. Our ushers are positioned throughout the venue and will gladly assist with directions. If not, follow the man with the Africa print pants. I will be where the food is. Please note that photography, videography, and live streaming are taking place throughout the summit. By participating and being here, you acknowledge that images may be used for official communication purposes, so please make sure that the GHD did its magic this morning. And if your spouse, partner, in other words, your boss, does not know where you are, I suggest that you quickly let them know before they see you on TV. And while you're doing that, make sure that your device is on silent. Now that we've had a moment to chuckle, we're just waiting for our final delegates to arrive, or dignitaries to arrive, and then we will officially start the program. Some music again, my spectacular AV team. So you don't have to be silent for the next 8 minutes. We will be starting at 25 minutes past. So please network chat, get your cell phones out. You may still WhatsApp. You may now still TikTok and follow and view those videos of the little cat, etc. If you're looking for people to follow, I'm not on TikTok. The only jokes I tell is my salary slip. So if anyone wants to see a joke, I'll gladly share that with you.
You must not run away from me. I need help.
You must.
Thank you. Take a picture of us since you're
Got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our Deputy Minister, Mr. Zihle Zikalala, as he enters the stage. Now, Minister, DM, you know that you've arrived. If you've got 4 protocol officers, making sure that you sit on the right seat. That really means you've arrived in life. We are about 2 minutes away from starting. Thank you for your patience, DM. For the Minister of Infrastructure. And I'm going to ask you to please remain standing. A round of applause for our Minister. Please remain standing. So I'm immediately going to break protocol. And I see the protocol officers all panicking. Don't worry, it will be fine. Before we begin, I would like to invite everyone to join us in observing a moment of silence in memory of all those who have lost their lives in building collapses. We honor their memory, extend our deepest condolences to their families and loved ones, and reflect on the importance of creating safer communities. May this moment also remind us of our shared responsibility to uphold the highest standards of safety and care in the built environment, exactly why we are here today. Thank you. Please join us in the singing of the national anthem. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Good morning, distinguished guests, honourable ministers, deputy minister, honourable members of parliament, honourable MECs, Executive Mayor, Chairperson and members of the Council, Chief Executive Officers, representatives of government, leaders of the built environment professions, captains of industry, distinguished delegates, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Council for the Built Environment and the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, it is my pleasure and honor to welcome you to the 2026 Public Works and Infrastructure Summit, the second of its kind. Our theme, From Collapse to Confidence, Strengthening Public Safety, Asset Management and Infrastructure Delivery, reflects our shared determination to move from discussion to implementation. Today's program has been carefully designed to produce practical commitments that will strengthen infrastructure delivery and improve public confidence. Now, for those of you who have worked with me, know that I find it terribly difficult to work from a script, but I wish you can see what I'm working from. Dr. Msibi has a professional planner and heading up his office, and yeah, it's difficult when you have a professional planner providing you with the documents not to stick to it. Pause for laughter. Oh, I probably wasn't supposed to read that. You read that, didn't you? Sorry, yes, Koketso, I did. As we said, this is not a conference, this is a conversation. So let's talk. Masikulume, Mazitete, Areboeng, kom ons praat. And the first to speak this morning was introduced last night as Miss. Now, I'm not sure whether it was because of what MEC Mamabolo termed the resources, but she was actually a he. Member of the Council of the Built Environment, who holds a master's degree in governance, development and public policy, is a Chevening and Commonwealth alumnus, holds a PhD in urban studies, and a person I'm stalking because you can't have all of that and be this young. He will be introducing our minister and doing the official welcome. Please welcome Dr. Chepo Monakedi.
Thank you. I think, firstly, just to reiterate that I am a he. I think that's the first one. Thank you. Thank you, Program Director. To the Honorable Minister Dean McPherson, the Deputy Minister Sihlezi Galala, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Mayor Carol Piri, mayors, MMCs, political leaderships, MEC of Public Works and Infrastructure family, especially, of course, MEC Rachweni, who is my MEC in Limpopo Province, leaders of government, to the Chief Executive Officer of Council for the Built Environment professionals, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Ndemachirone, Abusheni. From collapse to confidence. On behalf of the CBE Chairperson, Ms. Amelia Mchali, I welcome you all to the Public Works Infrastructure Summit 2026, held under the theme From Collapse to Confidence. Today marks more than the opening of another conference for us. It marks the beginning of an important national conversation about the future of public infrastructure in South Africa. Since our inaugural Public Works Infrastructure Summit in 2025, we have witnessed numerous incidents of building collapses across the country. As the Council for the Built Environment, we are deeply concerned about these incidents, as they not only taint the image of our sector, but most importantly, result in tragic loss of lives. It is our solemn duty under the CBE Act of 2000 to create platforms that confront these challenges head on. Crucially, to advise the government on measures that need to be implemented to prevent future infrastructure disasters. We have deliberately And let me reiterate that we have deliberately designed the summit differently. Rather than spending the morning on lengthy introductions and formalities, we're getting straight to the business that brought us here. The challenges confronting infrastructure delivery, public safety, professional accountability, and state capability require decisive leadership and practical solutions. There is therefore no better person to set the tone for today's discussion than the executive authority responsible for this important portfolio. Ladies and gentlemen, as I invite you all to rise, it is my honor and privilege to introduce the Honorable Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Minister Dean McPherson. Minister, the summit is yours. Can we all rise?
Thank you very much. That's so kind of you. It's wonderful to be here this morning. A little bit colder than I would have liked, especially coming from Durban, where it's summer even when it's winter. I think it's 24 degrees there today. So I think next year maybe, Doc, we'll have the summit in Durban. Deputy Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Sihle Zigalala, our host MEC for Infrastructure Development and Cooperative Governance in the province of Gauteng, Jacob Mamabolo, all MECs joining us here today, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Ms. Carol Perry, mayors and members of mayoral committees, Director General of the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Sifiso Mdekane, all Deputy Director Generals present, Council for the Built Environment Chairperson, Ms. Emilia Mchali, the CEO of the CBE, Dr. Msizi Miyeza, all council members, chairpersons and CEOs of public entities, representatives of professional councils and voluntary associations, and of course, our host sponsor, Brol Group COO, Mr. Mandla Msweli, and the CEO as well, all dignitaries and members of the media and guests. It's my privilege to join you here today for the second Public Works and Infrastructure Summit convened under the theme From Collapse to Confidence, Strengthening Public and Building Safety, Asset Management and Infrastructure Delivery. And even more so auspicious that it was exactly 2 years ago that I was sworn in as the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure. I must admit, I didn't think I would get this far. Maybe some of you thought I wouldn't still be here today. But regrettably for you and I am still here. This theme speaks directly to the moment we are in as a country. Public works and infrastructure are not simply about buildings, budgets, or technical drawings. At their best, they're about dignity. They're about whether people can access services safely, whether a court building functions to dispense justice, whether a police station is secure to protect the community they serve, or whether a public office is fit for purpose, whether a border post works correctly, and whether the state can respond when the country needs it most. This past week, I saw exactly what public works can do when urgency, capability, and purpose come together. I've twice visited the Beitbridge border post and the repatriation center near South Africa's border with Zimbabwe with the Interministerial Committee on Migration. We engaged with officials, law enforcement agencies, and teams responsible for managing a sensitive and important operation to ensure that people leaving South Africa could do so safely, humanely, and in an orderly manner. What we saw there was impressive. On Sunday, the repatriation center did not exist and was a barren piece of overgrown vegetation. Within 72 hours, officials from the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure had built an entire repatriation center. It was not a mega project or a ribbon-cutting ceremony years in the making, but it was public works at its best, practical, urgent, humane, and focused on solving a real problem. I want to thank particularly department officials who made that possible. In fact, I think that they're still there, dust in their shoes as well. Especially the Director General, Mr. Sifiso Mdekane, the DDG for FM, Rion Buerta, IDDG for CPM, Luyanda Kafile, and our Acting Prestige Director. They showed that excellence does exist within the department, and I please would ask that you give them a round of applause. They showed the public and the department what can be done when we are focused on delivering. And they reminded us that public infrastructure, even when built under pressure, can uphold dignity, improve safety, and strengthen the ability of the state to serve the people. That example is important because the summit is about rebuilding confidence in public infrastructure, in the built environment, and in government's ability to plan, regulate, maintain, and deliver. But confidence alone cannot be rebuilt unless we also confront where it has been broken. We meet today after a number of buildings have collapsed across the country and shaken our resolve as a country to ensure that we are able to meet in safe buildings. It has also forced us to confront difficult questions around construction, quality, oversight, professional accountability, enforcement, and capability. And so we do remember George, we do remember Redcliffe, and we do remember Omonde. The George building collapse remains one of the most painful construction disasters in South Africa's history. It claimed the lives of 34 people and injured 28, some who will never be able to recover from their injuries. Since assuming office, I have visited George twice and met with affected families to communicate the outcomes of an investigation into the engineer responsible for signing off on the building plans. That engineer was found guilty of 5 legal contraventions and subsequently suspended. I have also urged the National Prosecuting Authority, and I continue to urge them, to act following the completion of the SAPS investigation, because justice delayed only deepens the pain of families who have already waited too long for answers. And quite frankly, they shouldn't have to wait a day longer. No one is above the law. Not an engineer, not a developer, not an official, and not any person whose action, inaction, negligence, or failure may have contributed to a disaster. In Redcliffe, north of Durban, in KwaZulu-Natal, we again saw the devastating consequences of failure in the construction value chain. Preliminary findings raised serious concerns, including possible formwork or shuttering failure during the pouring of wet concrete, concerns about the quality of construction, indication of substandard materials, and preliminary indications that no approved building plans had been submitted, no construction permits had been issued, and that the building may have been occupied before an occupational certificate was issued. These are not administrative technicalities. These are safeguards. They are important and protect safety from catastrophe. In Omonde, south of Johannesburg, a further collapse again showed why regulatory coordination and professional accountability must be strengthened. Following that tragedy, I directed the Council for the Built Environment to lead a technical, governance, and regulatory investigation into the circumstances surrounding that collapse. The investigations into both Redcliffe and Omonde have now been completed. The outcomes will be communicated soon. And when they are released, they must not become reports without force and effect. They must become instruments for accountability and reform. As the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, we are the custodian of the built environment at a national level. But we must also be honest that there is a fundamental challenge in how the built environment is regulated in South Africa. Responsibility for different aspects of building control, workplace safety, professional regulation, and enforcement is spread across multiple departments and across different spheres of government. Municipalities have responsibilities relating to building plan approvals, inspections, and occupational certificates. The Department of Labor and Employment has responsibilities relating to occupational health and safety on construction sites. Professional councils regulate competence and conduct, while the Council for the Built Environment coordinates and provides regulatory oversights across the built environment sector. Each of these responsibilities are important, but when these systems do not operate in a fully coordinated manner, gaps emerge in oversight, compliance, and accountability, particularly where unlawful construction occurs or where buildings are occupied without approval. That's why engagements are ongoing at a ministerial level and how these systems need to be reformed. We need stronger intergovernmental cooperation, clearer lines of accountability, better enforcement capacity, and professional sign-offs that are treated as solemn responsibilities, not box-ticking exercises. Public safety cannot depend on luck. It must be built into the system. That is why today's summit, ladies and gentlemen, has been deliberately designed around three critical areas. The first is no more building collapses, and we must move from disaster to excellence. This is about ensuring that the tragedies we have witnessed become turning points by strengthening accountability, improving compliance, closing regulatory gaps, and building a culture where safety is never compromised. The second is to fix it before it breaks, the future of public asset management. For too long, the state has allowed too many public assets to deteriorate until they reach a point of crisis. A modern public works system cannot be purely reactive. It must be preventative and forward-looking. It must know what assets it owns, understand their condition, plan maintenance properly, invest before collapse, and use public assets for public good. The third is turning plans into projects to ensure that we fix delivery in South Africa. At last year's inaugural Public Works and Infrastructure Summit, I said South Africa is known for great plans, but too often lacks the follow-through required. That remains one of our greatest problems. We do not lack ambition, policies, or strategies. Too often we lack execution. And that challenge is to ensure that plans become projects, projects become construction sites, and completed infrastructure changes people's lives. Today, we are launching the National Built Environment and Construction Safety Framework. This framework is an important step towards strengthening safety, accountability, and collaboration across the built environment ecosystem. It also recognizes that safety is not the responsibility of one institution alone. It requires government, regulators, professional councils, municipalities, implementing agents, developers, contractors, and professionals to identify risks early on, enforce standards consistently, and place public safety at the center of every decision that they make. But a framework is only as strong as the action that follows it. That is why, through the Council for the Built Environment, we will also be gazetting the CBE Public Interest and Safety Regulations. These regulations will focus on three important areas. Firstly, structural and dolomitic occurrences, so that there is a clearer system for identifying, reporting, and responding to structural failures, near failures, and risks associated with dolomitic conditions. Secondly, will be about improving compliance in the erection of buildings, because construction must not proceed without the necessary approvals, and occupation must not take place without the required certification. Thirdly, certification scheme requirements in accordance with the principles established in SANS 17024, which is the conformity assessment around general requirements for bodies operating certification of persons. This is about compliance. It's about ensuring that people performing critical functions in the built environment are properly assessed, certified, and held to recognized standards. Today, we are also launching the Public Infrastructure Confidence Index. For too long, we have spoken about confidence in infrastructure without a clear, regular, and structured way to measure how key stakeholders perceive the performance of the system. The Public Infrastructure Confidence Index will fill this gap by providing a periodic snapshot of how key stakeholders perceive the performance, readiness, capability, and credibility of South Africa's public infrastructure system. It will help us track whether confidence is improving, identify bottlenecks, test whether reforms are being felt directly, and move from anecdote to evidence. The work we are launching today is part of a broader mission to turn the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure into an economic delivery unit for South Africa. It's part of our work to restore professionalism and accountability, use public assets for public good, and to turn South Africa into a construction site. But none of this will be achieved by the department alone. The complexity of our infrastructure challenges demands partnership. Government cannot do it alone, and nor should it. We need you, the private sector, our professionals, academia, municipalities, provinces, public entities, regulators, professional councils, implementing agents, and of course our communities. As I said at last night's cocktail function, partnerships are not a courtesy in this work. They are central to whether we succeed or fail. That is why I want to specifically acknowledge our host sponsor, BROL, and their team for demonstrating the kind of practical private sector partnerships we are looking to do in order to move faster from plans to projects and from collapse to confidence. This is also why the Council for the Built Environment has such an important role to play. It sits at the center of the built environment profession and has the ability to convene, guide, advise, investigate, and help government strengthen professional standards, public safety, and confidence in the sector. I want to thank the CBE Council under the leadership of Chairperson Emilia Mchali for the work that has gone into the summit. I also want to thank particularly Dr. Msisi Mieza and the entire CBE team for their leadership, dedication, and professionalism in bringing this important gathering together. Dr. Mieza, you and your team have once again demonstrated the value of the CBE as a strategic partner to the ministry and to the broader built environment. It's therefore my pleasure to announce today that I have recommended to the board of the Council for the Built Environment that Dr. Mieza be reappointed as the CEO for the CBE for the next 5 years. I told him last night I had a big announcement to make. I don't know if he knew it was that. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, the success of the summit will not be measured by the quality of the program or the number of discussions held today. It will be measured by what happens after we leave this room. It will be measured by whether we strengthen enforcement, close regulatory gaps, improve public asset management, accelerate delivery, and restore confidence in the built environment. The temporary repatriation center in Messina, which was built in 72 hours, showed us what is possible when urgency meets capability. The painful lessons of George, Redcliffe, and Omondo remind us why reform cannot wait. The National Built Environment and Construction Safety Framework gives us a platform for action. The Public Infrastructure Confidence Index gives us a tool to measure our progress and to hold ourselves accountable. The forthcoming CBE public interest and safety regulations give us a pathway to strengthen public safety and build confidence. Let us use today to move from collapse to confidence, from disaster to excellence, and from negligence to maintenance, and from plans to projects. South Africa is worth fighting for, and I know that we can do it collectively and together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minister, and congrats, Doc. And whoever says I can't keep a secret, this is proof. We're now going to move over into our pledge signing ceremony. So in my family, we call an umbrella a brolly. And just like you can't face a rainstorm without the brolly, so too we can't imagine the infrastructure space without brol. So hashtag dropping the name. I'll take my royalties later. Thank you very much for your role in making today possible. We will, as I said, we will now move into our pledge signing ceremony. So, Dr. Mieza, I'm going to ask you to join me on stage, please. Shall I then call the other delegates as well to the front? Koketso, I'm going to ask you and the team to please move our pledge to the center of the stage. And as they do that, I'm going to ask our dignitaries on stage to just join us downstairs as well. That will be Minister McPherson, Deputy Minister Zigalala, all our MECs present. See, MEC Mamabolo, you thought you were just going to have a nice day of relaxing. You're going to sign your pension away. MMC for Development in the Host City, Councillor Eunice Nkina. MMC for Spatial Planning and Environment, Alderman Eddie Andrews. Our CIDB Chair, IDT Chair, NHBRC CEO, Dr. Mieza, again, and then Malcolm Horn from BROL to please join us in the center of stage, on the front at the bottom, please. So we're going to do it from the bottom. Also, we're going to, and that was, the minister stepping down from the stage was just every OHS manager's nightmare. And I could feel my blood rushing. Thank you very much, Minister. I'm still alive now. But of course, now I'm shaking. So I'm going to read the pledge in front of everyone so you can all hold them accountable. We, the undersigned stakeholders of the Public Works and Infrastructure Summit 2026, recognize that the building safety, integrity, accountability, and sustainability of the built environment are fundamental to the protection of human life, economic development, and public trust. We acknowledge with deep concern the recurrence of building and structural failures and the devastating loss of life associated with such incidents. We further recognize that these incidents reflect systemic challenges across planning, design, construction, material supply, regulatory enforcement, accountability, and public awareness. In response and in support of the National Building Safety and Compliance Framework, we commit to collective and coordinated action to strengthen building safety, enhance accountability, and prevent future tragedies. Over to you, Minister, to sign that declaration. DM, your turn. What they don't know is I have a little device at the back that is now copying their signatures for my salary increase. Minister McPherson says perhaps in the next MTEF. I'm glad that they've all learned to sign within the lines, but remember you can sign anywhere on that pledge. We are going to do a group photo. So DM and Minister, if I can ask you to move up on stage, you can stand next to the... There we go. So then you've got them in the front and in the back. Make a nicer photo. But that's it. I didn't get an invite, so I have to. I had an outfit.
I might ask you to help me decide.
And as I shift them around, I can literally feel protocol also getting tense. Don't worry, protocol. We can always Photoshop. Once we have all signed, Koketsu, can I get the signal if everyone has signed? So then we go. We can have some of you on stage, some of you at the bottom, so we can get that group photo of everyone who just signed away their GEPF. MEC Simmers, we've got some space at the top here as well. Thank you very much, ladies and gents. Now that the minister has spoken, the pledge has been signed, now I can go. I'm going to make some extra rules. So for all speakers from this point forward, for every minute that you are over your allocated speech time, you will also be contributing half a bar to that central, newly created, unilaterally decided Central Infrastructure Fund. So make sure that you have your time as ready. No pressure. Formerly the MMC for Health and Social Development, and now the MMC for Development Planning in the city of Johannesburg. She holds a bachelor degree in municipal governance and an honors degree in public policy and African studies. Delivering a message of support from the city of Johannesburg, a warm welcome on a cold day to Councillor Eunice Mkina. Do you have your new speech ready?
Can you all see me? Okay, no, thank you. I know that I come from a city where we are led by a very short man, executive mayor, Murero. So it's always a challenge, you know, when we get to podiums, and we must be sure that at least you guys see us. So that I don't waste time and I get penalized. The Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Honorable Dean McPherson, the Deputy Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Honorable Sihle Zigalala, MEC present here, Popota Bulobe, MEC Mama Bulo, the Chairperson of Council for Build Environment, Ms. Amelia Mjali, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure, Ms. Carol Piri, the Director General of Public Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Dagane, MECs present here today, MMCs that are here today, colleagues from the regulatory and infrastructure institution, build environment professionals, contractors and developers who are here this morning, colleagues from academic and research institutions, colleagues and partners from financial institutions and investors, officials from all government departments in all spheres of government, media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Dumelang, Sanbonani. It is a great honor and a privilege to welcome you all to the city of Johannesburg, the economic hub of South Africa, and proud host of 2026 Public Works and Infrastructure Summit. I bring you greetings on behalf of the Executive Mayor, Councillor Dada Morero, who is unfortunately away on agent council business. He extends his sincere apologies for not being here in person, and he has asked me to convey his appreciation for your presence and participation in this important gathering. The theme of this summit is From Collapse to Confidence. It could not be more timely or more urgent. As we all know, infrastructure is the backbone of our economy, the foundation of investment, the driver of job creation, and the measure of urban attractiveness. For Johannesburg, and indeed for all metropolitan municipalities, infrastructure is not an abstract concept. It is the front line of service delivery, public safety, and economic development. We know too well the devastating impact that building collapses and infrastructure failures have on communities. They erode public confidence, compromise safety, and undermine trust in government and in the industry alike. As the city of Johannesburg, we know this too well as in the last year or so, and as the minister alluded earlier, we have experienced a number of these unfortunate incidents which have sadly resulted in loss of life. And these tragedies reminds us of the critical importance of compliance, professional accountability, effective inspections, and enforcement across the built environment value chain. As cities, we carry the responsibility of planning, delivering, maintaining, and regulating infrastructure systems that are safe, resilient, and inclusive. Stronger municipal planning, building control, inspections, and life cycle maintenance are not optional. They are essential. And that is why, as the city of Johannesburg, we have adopted stringent enforcement of compliance measures, often resulting in the shutdown of building operations in some instances. This is a bid to stem out lawlessness and prevent loss of life. Program Director, distinguished guests, we believe strongly that infrastructure maintenance must be seen not as a cost, but as an investment in resilience, safety, and service delivery. And therefore, this summit is an important opportunity to reaffirm collaboration across all spheres of government, national, provincial, and local, as well as with industry, professional bodies, and communities. Together, we must strengthen technical capacity within municipalities, professionalize the public sector and the built environment, and embrace innovation through public participation, public-private partnerships. These partnerships are vital for investment, maintenance, and service delivery. We welcome the launch of the National Built Environment and Construction Framework as a decisive national response to improving public safety, public and building safety. It is a milestone that signals our collective commitment to restoring confidence in infrastructure systems and ensuring accountability in delivery. But let us be clear, discussion alone is not enough. This summit must be about practical implementation, measurable outcomes, and collaborative action. We must move beyond words to deeds that improve infrastructure performance across all spheres of government. We must build a capable, accountable, and delivery-orientated state that can plan, deliver, and maintain, and regulate infrastructure effectively. Johannesburg, as a South Africa's economic engine, stands ready to play its part. Our cities' competitiveness, our ability to attract investment, and contribution to national growth depend on the strength of infrastructure systems. We challenge all stakeholders here today to work collectively towards building a safer, more sustainable, and better managed cities. Cities that can support future generations and inspire confidence in our people. In closing, Program Director, let us embrace the theme of the summit, not just as a slogan, but as a call to action. Let us move from collapse, indeed, to confidence, from failure to resilience, and from uncertainty to accountability. Together, we can build infrastructure that drives growth, creates jobs, and attract investment, and secure the future of our cities and our nation. On behalf, once more, of the Executive Mayor, I welcome you once again to Johannesburg, and I wish you a fruitful deliberations and successful outcomes. May this summit mark a turning point in our collective journey towards a safer, stronger, and more confident infrastructure systems. I hope, Program Director, I have not failed you and the conference or the summit. And with that, ke rata gore ke le leboge, ngiyanibonga, and baya danki to everyone. Thank you.
She was so scared of that half a bar fine. She stuck to it, but now unfortunately we're half a bar below our target at this time of the program. In our conversations, it was clear that she draws inspiration from the following words of the late Mama Charlotte Maxeke. This work is not for yourselves. Kill that spirit of self and do not live above your people, but live with them. If you can rise, bring someone with you. And I think that speaks to what we are trying to achieve. Thank you very much. Now, some of you may not know, but her first name is actually Sibongile. And if my onomastics, specifically my anthroponymy, is correct, that means we are thankful or we give thanks. And today we give thanks to you for being here. So thank you very much. Our next speaker and I have something in common. We both have a lot of hair. The poor photographers and videographers have had a difficult day trying to manage the glare from my pankop. But don't worry, Doc. The saying goes, grass does not grow on a busy road. Thinker, implementer, leader, one of the warmest and most humble people I have the privilege of knowing, with a terribly important position. Chief Executive Officer of the Council for the Built Environment for another term. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Msizi Mjeza. A round of applause.
Program Director, I had to change my presentation. So I was thrown off by the minister's announcement. So you can blame the minister and the deputy minister for concealing such from me, because I would have prepared better last night if I'd known. However, I just want to open my remarks by acknowledging the Deputy Minister, Sihle Zikalala, Minister McPherson, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, and the CBE Council members. I'm not breaking the protocol, colleagues. I just want to thank them for trusting me with the responsibility of doing this work. I do not take it lightly. Thank you very much. I also want to acknowledge the presence of the MECs. Last night, I did not recognize them individually. This morning, I thought I would do that. In the order of no priority of importance, MEC Tomo, MEC Simas, MEC Rachwene, MEC Mamabulo, MEC Mayor, and MEC Makotong. And thank you very much for the leadership and the support you give to this entity called CBE. We really appreciate the support you give us all the time. I also want to acknowledge MEC Mgcina and MEC Andrews for the work that we do in local government spaces. Obviously, other municipalities and districts that we work with. And we also want to acknowledge your presence here today. Obviously, I would not omit Dr. Mnagedi, representing the chairperson, Mem Charlie, council members of CBE, Mdagane in his absence, I know he's working hard. Until late last night, we're still working, sorting out some of the logistical issues. I also want to appreciate the support from the Department of Public Works, the DDGs, head of PMTE, leaders of the built environment, and CEOs of the public entities. I don't see Bongani. Should be easy to identify you, my brother. Oh yeah, there is a back. You can easily see Bongani there. I call him Fat Boy Slim. So he knows why we do that. And DM Zikalala, we will join you. We're coming. I do also want to acknowledge the professional councils leadership that is here, because what the minister was committing us to do, that work will require a collective effort between CBE and yourselves. I do also want to acknowledge my colleagues from CBE. I see Tembagaz and Sizwe and Sisa there. They will be working in various commissions today. And I also want to acknowledge you delegates who took time out from your busy schedule to honor us. And we really acknowledge and appreciate your presence. So earlier today, someone was asking me why we chose this venue. So I had to think quicker that it's not me, it's the SCM process. However, coincidentally, this venue actually fits the theme, Minister, because it is a construction site. So for those colleagues who are driving in, you'll note that you saw some scaffolding, some containers, graders. It means that we're in a construction site. So therefore, if you hear some noise, for those colleagues who spend time in construction projects, you should know what to do. You put your blockers, your helmet, and you continue. So we are in a construction site indeed, and this conference is taking in a precinct that is a construction site in the city of Johannesburg. So it's coincidence, but I think it works out for us. Minister, when we were preparing for this summit, we asked ourselves as a team on how to, I'm told that I must move the slides, on how to prepare for this conversation. So we asked delegates as they were registering to give us their insight on what are the issues that they would like us to have a conversation around. And indeed, most colleagues responded. So in summary, some of the issues that came through, I'm projecting them here for your leisure. But there is a complete report that we've done based on the input that we received. In actual fact, it's in sync with what the theme of the conference is about. However, 2 points that came through for us that we thought were important. You said to us, you are tired of having this conversation, you want us to implement, meaning us collectively. And secondly, you said, we don't lack plans, strategies, frameworks, we lack ability to implement, and hence we are here today. So what we are trying to present back to you, it's what you told us to do. The next slide, it might look busy, but I extracted some of the key issues that you had actually presented back to us. So it's not the complete set of the comments that we received from you and others who might not be here today, but these are some of the issues that colleagues raised. One of the issues that came through was that professionalization cannot be negotiated. So we must accept that for you to claim a space in the built environment, at least you must know a basic about it. The other issue that came through from the delegates, which I'm not going to go through all of them, is that infrastructure failures are seen as a system failure. They are not incidents that happen out of context. So those are some of the issues that came through. So we'll share the presentation and then you'll get a sense on some of the issues that came through from our submission. I think, Minister, you've done a great job in contextualizing the structure of our conference or of our summit today. So I'm not going to go through each and every summit, just to indicate 2 points or 3 points, that the summit is structured in 4 parts. Part 1 is the one that we're busy with now, which we call the grounding of the summit. Part 2 will be the technical input, which will be made by colleagues. I see Dion is here, in a form of a case study on the work that is being done by other places or by other provinces or private sector players. Then part 3 is the commissions, which basically, in simpler terms, Commission 1 is a voice of local government on the issues of building collapses. And that commission will also be supported by my colleague from NHBRC and Labour Department. Commission 2 is a private sector conversation where Brawl will be leading that conversation together with various investors, private sector players. And Commission 3 is a commission that a public works family led by DDG Batu, together with the AGSA. It's really about talking about infrastructure audit and how to ensure that our infrastructure that we build is resilient and sustainable. Obviously, there will be a conversation which will be led by our political principals, wherein they will be sharing provincial perspectives on the work that is done by our MINMEC through various provinces. So that's really the structure of the commission that you'll be seeing here today. Those commissions will be anchored by various CBE chairpersons, members of council, and supported by my executive from CBE. Now, Minister, there is the addition that I made this morning in my speech, and I will request you kindly to help me recite this preamble. I do know that we've done the Ngosikelele Africa with the assistance of the choir. May I request that collectively we read, I'll lead, or genre can come and lead us, but I will do that. I'm not sure from the front you can see. I'll start. We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past, honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who worked to build and develop our country, believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. We therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this constitution as a supreme law of the Republic so as to heal the divisions of our past, and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. Lay the foundations for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of people and every citizen is equally protected by the law. Improve the quality of life of all citizens and free the potential of each person. Build a united and a democratic South Africa, able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. May God protect our people. Nkosi sikelela Africa. Morena buluka setjhaba sa heso. God CN South Africa. God bless South Africa. Mudzimo fatuchetsa Africa. Hosi katekisa Africa. I intentionally decided that we recite the preamble because most of us, we end up singing the Nkosi Sikelela Africa and read the Constitution and other clauses. And when I read it this morning, preparing for this conversation, I thought it's important to remind all of us on why we do what we do. Thank you.
Now, at last night's event, Dr. Mieza made a comment about the venue not having a great many young people. The audacity. Then he went on to qualify, and I thought, okay, he's going to recover. And then he went on to say, not a lot of people under the age of 30. How very dare he. But then I stalked the next speaker, mayor at the age of 26, parliamentarian and chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure. She has an unwavering commitment to improving the lives of South Africans through infrastructure projects, a dedication to community upliftment, and a belief in going beyond limits to achieve personal and professional growth. Because as I heard her say, every time you make your target stretch further, it becomes easier to see the next target. We have no limits. Ladies and gentlemen, Member of Parliament, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure, Ms. Carol Peary.
So much. Good morning. Thank you, Program Director. Let me stand on the protocol that was acknowledged by the Minister when he started for me to leave someone behind. But I want to take this opportunity and greet everybody in the house, but not forgetting because you know, there's levels and there's leadership that I must acknowledge individually. It does not mean someone is lesser, but allow me, with how I've been taught by the organization that has deployed me. Amongst ourselves, I want to acknowledge the presence of the Minister, Dean McPherson, as you have been given this role and responsibility by the President of South Africa. I acknowledge you. The Deputy Minister, which ke mothodi wa ka, the Deputy Minister in the organization that deployed me, he sits in the NEC. If I can't acknowledge him, it becomes a problem. I can be redeployed, by the way. Deputy Minister, I acknowledge you. I also want to take this opportunity and acknowledge the leader in her own rights, even organizationally, the acting executive mayor, Mayor Eunice Mqina, you are acknowledged by myself. Also, I'm aware that in the House, we've got different MECs from different provinces. As you know, we've got 9 provinces. But allow me to say, I acknowledge all of you. I'm a bit sensitive in pronouncing surnames. So if I cannot pronounce it well, you might not feel good. But let me single out. I refer them and myself to the landlords. Beng ba Mabu, mong Mabu re gatile Gauteng, ra wena Kolobe, Mama Bolo, ntumelle ke she madume a tlhomphehileng go wena. Ke seke ka lebala mong Mabu kwa ke tswang gona a ska tla a nkoba re o le province-eng e nngwe a o gopole gore o na le mong Mabu ebile o na le o a diang gore o te ka parlamenteng. Se ke ra sona se boledi sa lekgotla la badimo le batho Tlhabirwa, ntate wa dikgerekgere in Limpopo. Sorry, we call him MEC of dikgerekgere, who makes it, and whatever that he says, it's implementable. MEC Tony Rachweni, ke a go lotša, ke a tamiša, Tlhabirwa. Allow me to say all MECs have acknowledged you. Mine is not to come here and talk a lot. Yes, all of us as politicians, we can speak for even more than an hour without stopping because this is our daily duties. But I've been told to come here and make a message of support. But unfortunately, in the message of support that I've prepared, the minister has already stepped on it. So it does not serve any purpose, but just for me to come here and say, indeed, I have to be rhetoric and repeat after what he has said, because my presentation, I thought he's not gonna say it. I thought he'll come after me. And when you come after the few speakers, you are redundant. It's no longer relevant, but let me just proceed and say we are a family of public works and infrastructure. And without the entire family, we are nothing. Minister, I always call upon yourselves as a family of DPWI, and it does not sit well with me if I can't see them on the stage and introduce them formally, because you said this is a summit, it's a dialogue summit, and it's where opportunities arises. And things that we are saying, they must be implemented, they must be implementable, and everyone else must know who we are. I want to take this opportunity. Allow me, Program Director, to call on the minister. You know him, and you know the DM, to come on the stage next to me. I also want to call the DG, if he has arrived in his absentia. I don't know who's acting, but I want you to come closer with the DG, with the DM. And also I want to call upon the entities, because this is a summit of dialogue, a summit where opportunities arises. You assist us to build the country. Dr. Mieza and your chair, or the acting chair, let's come back on the stage. I want to call upon IDT, if the CEO and the board chair are here, to come on the stage. Dr. Mieza, already the minister is here. Yenali Zikalala, they'll come. I get I play an oversight. And my role, I summon, I call upon. I know my powers. IDT, the implementing agency. Agrima, SA. CIDB. Bongs, I saw you came late. And you know better in terms of time.
Acting CEO of IDT is here.
When we speak about implementation, we don't just speak, we mean it must be implementable. MECs, I know you meet these people in your mini-MEC, but there are business people, there are partners, and I want to also call upon the major partner today, which is Brawl. You may come and join us on the stage. I'm calling upon you so that everybody could see you. When it goes live, even those who are not part of us, they need to know who are they working with. For the theme to be realized, it must be because of all these people who will play a role. Without all this entity, Minister, we are not DPWI, we are not a complete family. Without our partners, I'm aware, Dr. Mieza, you've got councils that report under you. I'm not gonna call upon them. You'll have to introduce to them, to the people in the session that you have planned. But I just wanted you to meet the family of DPWI on a national level and their partner, which is Brawl, and other partners that are not here today. Thank you. You may take your seat. I've noted that, Hlabirwa, I was still coming to that point, that there's an issue of gender, but allow me to echo those who came before me to say, today we are gathered here with one clear message, that South Africa cannot afford infrastructure that fails its people. And to be honest, infrastructure is not only the issue of a concrete, steel, and budgets. It is a safety for workers, its dignity and the community, while you are giving them confidence for investors and prove that government can deliver with discipline, integrity, and agency. IDT, you are the implementer of major projects. Many projects are in your hands. I called upon you deliberately so that people could see we have IDT. Minister, we have a number of complaints about IDT, and we want to say with this theme, they must take it seriously so. I went to Mpumalanga to do my oversight. There is a state of art, a building that is built by IDT, which is the implementing agency that reports to us, Minister, the High Court of Mpumalanga, the same as the High Court in Limpopo. The design is of high level, Dr. Mieza, because architects are your people. But when you come to the complete structure, the roof is leaking. It's the same as in Limpopo. I'm raising this because we are saying we need to build and give people confidence. We can't live in a state currently, after 30 years of democracy, where we build state of art of infrastructure, but it has defaults. Acting CEO of IDT, there is a major problem, and we are calling upon you. I've been raising this even in a portfolio committee. We want you to fix the roof of Mpumalanga High Court simultaneously with the Limpopo one. Dr. Mieza, we make you run around because we want a report, the engineering report, what was the fault. What we have noticed as a committee is that you don't work together hand in hand. And as today you are saying, you are going to bring confidence to South Africans. you need to work hand in hand. If there's a major project, CIDB, the ones that are registering contractors, yourselves with professionals, IDT as an implementing agency, Agrima SAA that has got product, innovative building materials, you must come together and agree. Yes, indeed, all of us, we are saying today we are moving out of the collapse, but we want to say from the collapse, let it be a confidence. We are expecting you to work closely. Our position as a portfolio committee, we are saying safety must be enforced at every stage, from planning, design of the construction, the inspection, certification, and occupation. MMC, Ma'am Eunice, there is a part which is important as the local sphere, where you need to bring yourself on board. You approve, you certify. But it looks like local government does not work in hand with us. Or we need to intensify in getting proper reports and proper implementation programs, so that we must avoid the collapse of the building. Unfortunately, which is not a good thing, we are here in your town. We've just experienced the Omonde collapse. And in your report and in the media, you are telling us that building you did not approve, but it happens in the doorstep, in your eyes. You are telling us it was built where it's not supposed to be built, which is an area that has got a threat. It's under the electrical lines. You have a proper way of calling it. And we are calling upon yourself, when you sit with SALGA, National SALGA, to call upon all the municipalities, make sure, understand what is being built within your constituency. Who is the developer? And did they meet the proper requirements for us to realize the theme of today? Local government, there's a missing link. We are also calling upon the traditional leaders, Marosh, in your land. You need also to understand, working together with your municipalities, how the structures are being approved and built. When there's a disaster, there's a call, we must come rushing and see what happens. And people believe that whether you have built your house according to regulations and standards of the building, as long as the house has collapsed or water has damaged your properties, you are calling us as a government to come and rescue. It's a disaster. But when you start, we are not part of you. That's why standing here with the report that comes into Parliament, we need to work with local government, traditional leaders. Each and every house that is being built, they must follow the right procedure and the right standard. We can't agree and allow one life, it's important. Even the injuries, they become a problem to us. So we want to call upon once more SALGA to talk to your local spheres, your leaders, to take this into account and be serious about it. Our position also is about the investigations that must be timely, and the communities deserves the answers, not the silence. If we really want community to get the response, we need to tell them what wrong do they do. Just building and extending houses without approval of municipalities and the standards, it's wrong. Those buildings ends up collapsing. We are not talking about measure or investors. We also talk about just your house. That becomes a family, and there's a risk of losing lives. The consequences must follow negligence, misconduct, and non-compliance. Honorable Minister and the Program Director, DM, you have promised us you are going to drive the reforms and strengthens the regulations or the regulators and fast-track the legislative tool needed to protect and proceed with the program. But DM and the minister, in front of us in Parliament, we don't have your amendment bill. There's no legislation in this current financial year that will address the problems that we have as a DPWI family. I'm waiting for it so that we start with the process of engaging the locals. The only thing that you have, Minister, you are consulting on your side as technocrats, but we are hungry for that legislation to come, the amendment of CBE bill and also the Public Works bill. The inspection capacity and the enforcement cannot be optimal. There are frontline duties. To the entities, coordination must become execution. To contractors, yes, those who don't finish their contracts, those who leaves the project unfinished. We want professionalism. We also want the quality. Ethics and safety are not negotiable. I do believe that where I come from, Hlabirwa, you are going to make sure that those who have unfinished project, they must finish. Those who don't finish, blacklist them, because they are the ones who are denting the name of DPWI. When there's a crisis, it comes back, it hits back to DPWI. To the business and communities, your partnership with us also hold a systematic account. We must build one chain of responsibility from design to occupation, where every signature carries accountability, every inspection has a meaningful, and every public asset serves the people with safety and dignity. PMTE, we call upon you to rectify and do due diligence to public state assets. The success of this summit will not be measured by speeches as we are standing here. It will be measured by safer sites, stronger enforcement, faster investigation, better professional conduct, fewer preventable strategies. More jobs must be created, more skills, more investment, and renewed public confidence. Indeed, we want to renew public confidence. Let us live here with a standard and a shared commitment that says, build safely, regulate firmly, deliver faster, and account honestly. And when we speak, we say you must deliver faster, we mean quality work. Let us build beyond concrete. Let us build confidence, dignity, safety, and shared prosperity. Program Director, allow me to say, I'm here to give support. Yes, we play an oversight. We are not just policing, we become part of the culture of calling on all our family. So emotional and get angry when DPWI is being criticized. We want DPWI to shine and make sure it brings real confidence into the country. I'm glad, Minister, with the report that you gave us, because I was starting to be worried. I'm from Musina, I stay there. That situation, if you could have not rescued it within few days or few hours, it was going to result into a disaster. And I want to applaud you with your team, with what has happened there in the repatriation center, to say, let it be in every aspect. But we cannot be reduced to reaction. We cannot be reduced as a DPWI to react after this is disaster. Let us plan properly. Let us make sure that whatever that we are tasked with, we execute it with high standard and dignity. Allow me to end here and say thank you.
I'm not sure if she felt my energy from the side because I was saying you were getting dangerous to that half a bar fine. But thank you very much for that, Chairperson. Now, our next speaker, I've worked with many ministers, deputy ministers, MECs, but the next speaker does not know me from a bar of soap. But he made an impression when I first met him, and that was at the site of the George building collapse. He was briefed, and we walked to the actual site as the rescue operations were underway. And he was observing from a distance. A team member then said, but at that stage, sir, move closer. His response, this isn't about photos, not if it interferes with the operation. And that is something that will always stand by me. He was not there because it was expected. He was there because he wanted and needed to be. He holds a degree in communication, my people, an honors in administration, a master's in commerce, former MEC, former premier. Join me in welcoming Deputy Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Sihle Zigalala.
Thank you, colleagues and compatriots. It's an honor to be here today and to engage in this summit. The Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Dean McPherson, the Portfolio Chairperson on Public Works and Infrastructure, Honorable Carol Peary, our MECs who are here, the MMC for infrastructure in the city of Johannesburg, Councillor Sibongile Mchina, the CPE, led by Dr. Tsepo Monakedi, as well as the CEO, Mr. Mieza. Our public entities who have been introduced here, our colleagues and fellow compatriots from the construction industry in the Kingdom of Eswatini, Mr. Mnisi and Mrs. Gamini, the partners of CPE in convening this summit, coming from Broil, captains of industry, senior government officials, ladies and gentlemen, from collapse to confidence, strengthening public and building safety, asset management and infrastructure. This theme recognizes the infrastructure development as a backbone of economic growth, job creation, and service delivery. Implicit in the theme is a call to action from all stakeholders, both in construction and property sector. Beyond uncompromising law enforcement against criminal syndicates who sabotage infrastructure development, the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure is forging ahead with social facilitation, which has been broadly consulted with relevant stakeholders to eliminate crime, construction site stoppages and disruption, but moreover to build partnership and public participation in the construction sector. So as we gather here, we should recall that beyond the resolutions that will be adopted, South Africa ultimately depends on the cadre of professionals with the requisite technical skills to deliver safe and sustainable infrastructure. We're working hard on consultation as the department on the establishment of the Office of Engineer General of South Africa as a response to a call that came from the South African engineers themselves that release or reveal the need to build and strengthen engineering leadership. There can be no doubt that engineering excellency and strong engineering leadership is essential if South Africa is to get infrastructure working effectively. It is engineers who possess technical skills, who physically create dams, roads, bridges, power station, transport system, and all. Let us then remember what Victor Gau-Soweto said in 2019 when he authored, and he said, "It is hard for the country to progress when the busiest professionals are lawyers and politicians and not engineers. Africa needs busy engineers, not just busy politicians," close quote. This was taken further by the former UJ Vice Chancellor, Prof. Mwala, who said, as I quote, "For want of an engineer, the water was lost. For want of the water, a country was lost. All for the want of an engineer," close quote. And therefore, we take this as a call that we should focus on technical skills that are required in the sector. The summit is called upon to pay attention to science and complex tasks of maintenance, looking on logistics, finance, engineering, and all aspects of maintenance. The department is working on creating or solving the problem of dilapidated buildings in our CBE, wherein through Operation Bring Back, we are reclaiming these buildings and revamping them for proper commercialization for the benefit of our cities and for the country. The emergence of climate change and the need to embed climate resilience in construction cannot be undermined. Research tells us that buildings are responsible for 40% of global energy consumption, 40% of fresh water consumption, and 30% of waste production. And therefore, we need to be scientific in dealing with this. It was because of that reason that the Department of Public Works introduced the Integrated Renewable Energy and Resource Efficiency Program, wherein we're calling for the introduction by the private sector into our public facilities of renewable energy, either solar, solutions for water reuse, and solutions that talk to waste management. We're introducing this as part of facility management, but as we examine the future of the construction sector and property management, especially as we underline the need of the green building, which is the policy that we have adopted as the department. As the department, we will continue to explore ways of incentivizing property owners who meet these resource efficiency imperatives. It is commendable that every project entering the strategic integrated project pipeline, which is led by ISA, is assessed on the basis of carbon footprint and energy efficiency, social value, especially the question of job creation and the effect on economic distribution. And I was saying yesterday, Honorable MECs, we are in Sentin on one part, and across Sentin it's Alex. And the two depict the South Africa you have. And therefore, we should not compromise on the imperatives of economic transformation. Climate vulnerability and resilience to the future shock is what we need to pay to. So to lease buildings to government department, we must ensure compliance with the principles of value for money, sustainability, safe coexistence between the people and the buildings so that there is safety. We are therefore called to ensure that we work together as stakeholders. We applaud the participation of various stakeholders who are here, but we need this summit to look on key areas, including establish robust revenue model to ensure that we support and fund bankable projects, strengthen debt recovery and enforcement. And that is quite critical for all of us, Councillor Mcina, from national, provincial, and local. Debt recovery and enforcement, including enforcement of bylaws. Thirdly, consolidate technical and professional capacity. We must ensure that we achieve a meritocratic state with technical workforce capable of managing complex projects. We must implement advanced digitalization systems. There were companies who came earlier in the digital space, whether you will talk of communication sector, but because they've never invested on research, they faded away with history. We must be focused on advancing digitalization. We must work together to enhance good governance and fight corruption. The level of fighting corruption needs to change from a state where we talk of corruption, but we talk of preventing corruption. We therefore call on all of you, the private sector, the government officials, to work together to build a thriving industry in property and construction. We call on CBE, CIDP, AXA, IDT, and ISA to ensure that they work together according to their mandate and statutory obligations. To the academia, we applaud renewed effort to impact knowledge, research, and training in the center. We're grateful of the work that the University of Johannesburg, Wits University, University of Walter Sisulu have done to establish centers of excellency in the construction and property sector. For past consecutive 2 years, the University of Cape Town have been working with us, especially CIDP, in ensuring that they impact on how we improve construction and to achieve sustainability in the ecosystem. We want to thank them for this, and we hope knowledge and technical skills will continue to improve. We call on the private sector to work with us, especially TVET colleges and the department, to build artisans. On that note, I must report, in 2014, the department took a decision to phase out workshops that were dealing with maintenance of the public buildings. We have taken a decision to ensure that we re-establish these workshops, and therefore we will want to enhance the technical capacity of the state. We're not depriving the private sector, but we're calling that we must work together so that we meet compliance. We call on progressive public-private partnership that see the business sector, the government, civic society, and people as a whole thriving together and achieving a prosperous society.
DM, I am extremely impressed with you checking me out on that side. Hand signals, we got this. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the DM brought us back onto track, so we are good for timing. We are going to cut our tea time with 5 minutes, and the reason why I'm cutting it with 5 minutes is so that we can be back here when we need to restart at 25 minutes past 11. So 11:25, please be back here. All media houses are now invited to please join Minister and the DM as they do their door stops. Is it Tatum? There we go. Tommy is in the back there, so at that exit door. So Babum Kunu is right at the back there with his yellow shirt on. So if the media can just follow Babum Kunu, then we see each other here at 11:25. Thank you very much, and thank you very much to our panelists. A last round of applause.